Good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone. Good evening. So, without a further ado, we'll start this today's session. So I hope you are all aware. Basically, we have scheduled the attempt two for the milestone assessment one for you guys tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. You would have received a notification for the same as well. So based on our previous experiences and based on the other assessment conducted so far, we have arranged this session in order to help you or guide you to with the best practices and what are the things that you can do and which are all the things that you shouldn't do during the proctored assessment so that you can prevent the number of proctoring alerts that you receive. So basically, the proctoring alerts is limited to 25 in order to restrict or prevent the malpractices. So there are some best practices which you can adopt so that you won't end up because of suspicious alert your test getting submitted. I hope we are clear with the context of today's connect. So just give me a minute. I'll quickly share my screen where I have enabled demo test for myself, which I'll be taking with the proctoring alert and will be guiding you a step by step process. I'll quickly share my screen. Let me know once my screen is visible. Okay. So I have taken this LTI Java Week 1 assessment as my demo test. Okay. So I have taken this. I've also increased the number of attempts given for the test. This is not exactly how your assessment will look like. For demo purposes, I've increased the attempts. I've also increased the number of suspicious alert allowed and number of tab switches in order to help you with each and every scenario that you will face and what are the preventive measures or do's and don'ts that you can do to prevent such scenarios. Okay, so basically all you will do is I think we would have already shared you the guidelines during the previous assessment, the milestone one, but still I'll orient you on the best practices right from the starting of the assessment. So let's say if the assessment is scheduled for 5:30 tomorrow, we would recommend you to log into the platform before 5:30 and be ready to log into the, I mean, start the assessment, once the timer reaches 5:30. Also, don't rush at 5:30. I mean, just take a couple of seconds or like, let's say you start the assessment by 5:31, but make sure you start the assessment within couple of minutes from the test start time. Let's say if the start window is for 10 minutes, so why we recommend you to start within a couple of minutes is that, let's say if the test window is for 10 minutes, if you start the assessment, let's say by 5:32, and if you encounter an issue and reach out to us, we will be able to help you out and then make you start the assessment within the start time. So if you, let's say if you log into the platform by 3:2 or 3:5, and then you are trying to logging into the assessment by 3:8 or 3:9 and you are encountering an issue, by the time you reach out to us, the time will get the test start time will get over. So in order to avoid that, we would recommend you to start the assessment earlier. So this is for exceptional cases. Let's say you have ensured all the prerequisites, but still you have missed something, or there may be any issue from your end or the system end. So we are just mentioning about the exceptional cases. So let's see what are the prerequisites that you have to ensure before coming to the assessment. So let's see the mandatory ones alone. First, your internet connection. So I hope some of you have already encountered that you doesn't have the required bandwidth. So this is a remote proctored assessment. Let's say you have to maintain 2 Mbps of upload and 2 Mbps of download speed. Only that too, the speed has to maintain throughout the assessment. Let's say during the start of the assessment, you have 2 Mbps of upload and download. So that system will allow you to take the test. But during the test, if your internet drops, immediately you will be pushed out of the test. So we have also put restriction on resuming, right? You will be allowed to resume only a limited amount of time, that too within a limited amount of time period. Let's say if I'm thrown out of the test, I should resume the test within that particular amount of time. Having these restrictions, if you make sure that prerequisites are strongly ready, you won't face these issues. Let's say you have to ensure that you have 2 Mbps of upload and download speed throughout the assessment. Let's say right from starting the assessment till submitting the assessment, right? And then the next thing is your battery backup. We have also seen queries like my laptop got shut down. I went to plug the charger and immediately I started the test, but it said the resume interval exceeded. This is all because of you have been exceeded the time in which you have to resume. Let's say we have kept it for 2 minutes. That means if you, it's just for an example. Let's say we have kept the resume interval only for 2 minutes. That means that if you go out of the test, you have to resume the test within 2 minutes. So you have to ensure that you don't want to meet that scenario. Let's say you have to make sure that you have a good battery backup in your laptop already. Also, you make sure you have plugged in the your charger to a inverter. So in this case, even if your uh, power goes down in your area or in your house, it still runs on an inverter, right? So this is the next scenario. Also, in order to, since this is in proctored assessment, three things are mandatory: mic, camera, and then the screen access, right? So when you are going into the test, you should, let's say if I click on view instruction, I'll be able to see the general instructions. Or let's say if you click on take test, you will be provided with an instructions, right? In this itself, let's say you have blocked the microphone or camera. If you want to unblock it, we would have given you the instructions over here. You can follow the instruction to unblock the mic before coming to the assessment itself. Okay. So this is one thing. So you make sure you have a working microphone, camera, as well as your screen share works properly, right? So if you ensure these prerequisites, also make sure, so there are some external prerequisites that you have to maintain as well. Like you have to ensure that you are sitting under a proper lighting. So most of you would say I'm sitting in a bright environment. Let's say I've put all my lights in my room, but still it is saying my image is poor, something like that. So basically it happens in various reasons. Let's say you have put, your room is bright enough, but you would have you would have sitting in the same direction as the light, so that the shadow of your image is being captured on the camera. So make sure you sit in the opposite direction to the light. Let's say if my if my light is on the wall, I should make sure I'm sitting opposite to the wall where my light is, so that the light falls on my face, so that the image capturing will also becomes easier. And then the next thing is that your camera would have been it would have caught dust, or it is not clean. So if the camera is not clean, then again you will face this issue of this image is poor. So make sure you have cleaned the camera before coming to the assessment, right? So these are all a bunch of prerequisites that if you ensure before coming to the assessment, it would be great that you will also have a smooth test taking experience. We've already shared you the guidelines document. We'll again post you the guidelines document through emails and also through workplace. So if you go through the guidelines line by line and ensure everything is set before the assessment, we can assure you that your test taking experience will improve much, right? You won't face any difficulties and you will also be able to concentrate on the assessment part. Okay. So let me quickly just take the test and show you at each stage what will be the issue that you might encounter and what to do to resolve it. So let's say you have logged into the platform by before 5:30 and you're ready to take the test. So once the test time reaches, don't just take the test abruptly. You would have logged in much prior, right? Just refresh the page once and then click on take test button to take the assessment, right? So some might have encountered this. You would have clicked on this check compatibility, I mean system compatibility. So this system compatibility is to check only your network speed. So if you're done with your network speed, you can just close it. This verify phase is for a different scenario. This parameter hasn't been enabled for you. So you need not verify your face, you can just close it. Okay. So you can just verify you have a good network using the system compatibility. Then you have to do is you have to click on the take test. Also you know go through all these instructions because let's say I've also missed this instruction. It would have told you to disable all your pop-ups. Any notifications or pop-up should, I mean, let's say if I'm not disabling any pop-up, suddenly if a notification comes in, what I would do, I would tend to close it. It means that you're clicking on a substance which is not a part of test taking screen. So if you click on any part, I mean, any property which is not a part of test taking screen, it will be considered as tab switch. So make sure you turn off all the notifications or pop-ups before you come to the test. Also, sometimes what may happen is your antivirus will prevent the test taking. Your antivirus will block some properties which will prevent you from taking the assessment. So make sure you disable the antivirus. Preferably, you can uninstall the antivirus only for taking the assessment and then you can reinstall it. Also, make sure you have set the time correct. It should be in Indian Standard Times, right? Also, you should use the latest Chrome browser. So these are all the extensive prerequisites that you have to follow to have a good or smooth test taking experience. So once you are done, you can just click on agree and proceed. It will first validate your network speed and resources, right? So once it validates, what will happen is like you will go through this webcam and mic check. So I should place my face in such a way that it captures my entire face within this particular circle, right? So I'll keep my face like this and then I'll just click on capture. So once you click on capture, the system will capture your face and then you will ask to either if you want to recapture your image, you can recapture, or if you want to proceed, you can just click on proceed. So once the checking webcam and mic is over, you will be landing onto this screen sharing page, right? So in screen sharing page, you will do two miss, right? First, what you will do is sometimes you would have clicked on a different tab and you would have clicked on share. But the request here is you should always share the entire screen. So once you click on the entire screen, you have to click on that particular screen and click on share. If you share the Chrome tab or window, the test will get, the test will not allow you to pass, right? So in other cases, you would have selected entire screen and you would have also selected share. But here the continue test button is hidden because of this screen sharing. So this screen sharing is a property of Google Chrome. So we would recommend you can hide this screen sharing thing that is coming below. You can just hide it before you proceed with it. And the next thing you have to do is you have to click on continue test. We have received a lot of queries saying that my screen is stuck at screen share. But the thing is you would have not clicked on the continue test button, right? So just click on this continue test button. So once you click on this continue test button, what will happen is you will go through a 25 seconds timer. So this 25 seconds timer is for the system to load the test into your particular browser, right? Once this 25 seconds timer gets over, you will be landed onto the test taking page. Okay, so this says that the application will perform some basic tests before proceeding to the test. Please click OK. So at this point of time, it will check whether you have installed any extensions. So there are some extensions available in the market which some of the students that they use for malpractice purposes, right? So in that case, the system will not allow you to proceed with the test. That's why the check at the final after the 30 seconds timer gets over. Okay. So once you click on OK, it will run a test. It will see whether you have done, I mean, you have installed any extension. If you receive the message like you have, enabled the extension, all you have to do is you have to remove all the extensions in Google Chrome, I mean, the browser that you use, and then restart the test. You have to clear your caches and cookies because let's say, it would have been stored in the caches or cookies so that you won't be able to attend with the test. So we would recommend once that you have met with any issue and you have resolved it, do clear your caches and cookies and then try taking up the assessment. So once you've done, so if it still doesn't work, let's say I've removed all my extension, but still it says some extensions are installed. That means that some extensions will still be hard. I mean, let's say it is not hard deleted. When you are deleting because of a network or something, it will still be there in the backend. So all you have to do is you have to uninstall and reinstall your browser, right? Um, so these are all the few do's and don'ts that you can maintain in the initial stages of the assessment. As you could see, the assessment has been started for 2.5 minutes, and I haven't received any notification as such. Let's say if I'm tilting my face to one corner of the screen, as you could see, I have been given with a suspicious alert, right? You may be distracted or not looking at the screen. So many of the mistake that many of you make is that whenever you encounter that, you get panic and you try to take a picture so that you can reach out to the the support team also. So in our experience, I would recommend if you get one or two suspicious alert, it's okay. That means that the system is not I mean, the posture that you are sitting and taking the assessment is not good. Let's say if I'm getting an error in one of my posture, then it means that I have to change the posture. Let's say we have seen scenarios like student, I mean, having that. So basically the posture is also dependent on the way that you keep your system. So in my case, I'm using my laptop. So we would have also seen some scenarios where you have the the angle of the camera screen tilted like this. So where your face is not 100% clearly captured by the camera, so that you also encounter suspicious alert. Okay. So I will also tell you some best practices that you can follow during the remote proctoring. Let's say if my so you are able to see this preview, right? I'll just take it to the center so that it is easy for you to observe. So I'm making sure my posture fits in the center of the remote proctoring. Also, make sure that both of your ears, right? You have 2 ears, both of your ears should be visible in the camera. Always make sure that so that you won't ended up with proctoring. Let's say if I'm turning like this means that my ear will get it will be hidden, right? This ear is getting hidden, so that I'm not getting the full face captured in the camera. That's why I'm getting errors. Let's say if I expose both my ears to the camera, then that time I won't be getting any suspicious alert, right? So this is one trick that you can follow. Always make sure that both of your ears are visible in the camera, right? And the next thing is, we would have also given you in the guidelines that what you would have done is, let's say you would have notes, or you would have some rough papers to do your rough works and all. What you would be doing is you will be keeping them in the side, right? Let's say you're keeping here and you're trying to write it. So that time you will be encountered with the suspicious alert. So we would recommend you can, if you are allowed to use the rough paper for, your rough works, place it between you and the you have a gap between you and your system, and place it in between, and you can try writing this way so that you won't get any suspicious alert. Let me write like this so that I won't get any suspicious alert, right? It's not like that if you turn your eyeball a little bit, the system is throwing you proctoring alerts. If you maintain a correct posture, you will not receive any suspicious alert. That's what we are coming to say right from the beginning, right? So as you could see, I've already crossed 15. We would have seen a lot of queries stating that within a 5 minutes I have exposed all the 25 alerts. So that's why we are keep on stressing these terms. Let's say I've already crossed 15 minutes of my time, right? but all the proctoring alerts that I have encountered is made by myself. Let's say I wanted to show you guys how these proctoring alerts are triggered. So that is the way in which these five are triggered, or else I would have, I mean, I wouldn't be triggered with any proctoring alerts, right? So in our recommendation, we we will tell you is that you have 25 proctoring alerts, right? So if you encounter with proctoring alerts, try changing your poster. That is the main reason why most of you get the proctoring alerts, right? Also, some of the things that we noticed with your proctored image is that you what you have done is the position of this laptop or your desktop, you're keeping it in a different way, so that, or else you are using an external keyboard and your screen is tilted in a different way, your keyboard is in a different way, and then you're looking some other place and writing it. So that is why you always tend to get a proctoring alert, right? So you can also make sure that your, you know, your physical body, the laptop and also the keyboard aligns in the same line, so that you won't be triggering the tab switches, right? Also, the other things that we have noticed is that you should always sit with a plain background. So this is what we are coming to say right from the beginning. When you're, you know, when you're ready and you're about to take a test, place a plain wall. Let's say you have a plain wall in your house, right? Sit on the plain wall. You should not have any properties on your behind. Let's say I have a photograph or something behind me. This AI will again capture the faces in the photograph as another person, right? So in order to avoid these things, let's say you have a plain wall in your house, go and sit there and try to bring in some light over there, so that everything matches there and you won't be able to trigger the suspicious alert. So this is one thing. Also, we would have noticed some people writing assessment in your bed or sofas. So I mean, the problem there is that in bed and sofas, what we would have done is the the angle of the camera is like a bit low. Let's say I'm just having this laptop on my lap and then try taking the assessment, and again it will throw me some proctoring alerts. So in order to avoid this, we would recommend that the angle of your laptop screen is pretty important for you to avoid the proctoring alerts. So other than this, if we have seen about the proctoring alerts, let's say we'll see about the other areas like the tab switches. Let's say basically the tab switches happen at the moment when an external intervention is there. Let's say I have not disabled any notification, so a notification pops and I'm clicking on it, or else I am not had a backup for my internet, so that on the moment my internet goes down, what I do, I click on escape and then I click on some other area to enable my sorry to enable it, and then it encounters as a tab switch. Also so it also say you have encountered on tab switch, it also says you have to enable the full screen to continue. So whenever I escape from the full screen mode and go to some other place, two things happen. Now I have escaped from the full screen mode, so it says please enable full screen. If I click on some other place, it will say tab switch encounter. So both the things you should be very careful with. So we have set a number of times which you can go for a off screen. So if the limit exceeds, then your test will get you will be thrown out of the test. Also, let's say we have also kept a number on tab switches, so that if you make more tab switches than the limit, then you will get thrown out of the test. So that is why we have informed you to make sure the prerequisites to whatever be the power backup or notification which has to be disabled, or the lights or the internet connection. Make sure before coming to the assessment, so that during the assessment you need not go away from the test taking screen, or you need not go change the there won't be any necessity to change the network, right? Also, some of you would have received this notification that your internet connection is slow. So it is because that at that point of time during the assessment, your internet would have been dropped. So let's say my internet goes off in the middle. Let's say I've been thrown out of the assessment. Okay, so I'm considering that I'm thrown out of the assessment. If I take the test quickly, right? So what it will say is, it will say multiple sessions detected. It means that it is just now that you have came out of the assessment. You should not rush taking up the assessment, because everything is based on servers and it should take time to reflect, right? I mean, time in seconds, not in minutes. We have also kept a time limit for you to resume, right? So let's give it a couple of seconds time. Just refresh the page or log out and log in. It might not take more than 5 to 10 minutes. Take the time and then, sorry, 5 to 10 seconds. So once you consume 5 to 10 seconds, then you try clicking on resume. So that again you will go through all the processes, but you will be able to resume, right? But then you will be able to resume only for a particular number of time. Let's say I've come, I mean, the start window is only for 10 minutes, but you can resume anytime if you go out during the test. But then the resume times, let's say I've already resumed once, if I try to go out and come again, it may or may not be able to enter you, because we have set a limit for you to resume the test. But then we won't be able to express you the limit in order to prevent the malpractices. So this is what you have to do whenever you go out of the test for any reason. You have been thrown out of the test for any reason. Don't get panic. Take a couple of seconds time. Make sure. Let's say if my internet goes down and I'm going out, make sure you arrange for the network and then give it a one try. Let's say you clear your caches and cookies, arrange for the internet, do all the prerequisites, check again, and then resume the test. So that, let's say if I'm getting an internet issue, I'm thrown out, what I do, I quickly refresh the page, clear a caches and cookies. I mean, make sure my internet will work fine. I'll just come to the test again. It will allow me at that point of time, my internet is good. But again, if my internet drops, I'll go out, but there's a limit, right, to resume the test. So that after a particular point of time, I won't be able to resume the test at all. So that is why you will receive these messages like resume test, resume interval reached, resume interval exceeded, all these notifications. So there are two things that you remember in terms of resume. You will be able to resume only a particular number of times. That too, if from the time you come out of the test, you should resume within a particular time period, right? So these two things you should be make sure to have, so to avoid this time interval exceeded, errors, and then you are not able to proceed further, right? Yeah. So that's about the proctoring, the prerequisites for the proctoring, or the do's and don'ts that you have to follow during the proctoring assessment, and also to, to prevent the tab switches or screen off allowed. I'll just quickly submit the test, or else it's just a demo test. I can quickly come back and close it. So we hope this session was informative to you. So basically, the purpose of this session is that we are given you with guideline documents right from the, I mean, day one assessment, week one assessment. But then we could see there's a gap between the guideline document and the learners, right? So in order to bridge that gap, so that we have arranged for the session, so that you can see in real time that the proctoring alerts won't trigger if you maintain a correct posture. Always remember this: whenever you encounter an proctoring alert, just try changing your posture. Identify in which posture that you are not getting any proctoring alerts, and then maintain that posture for throughout the assessment. Right? All right. So we'll quickly see some of the comments and then try responding you with the solution. So some of you, I hope my voice is audible. Okay. Yeah. So some of you have requested to increase the warning limits, but then if you see during your week two assessment or week one assessment, we have kept 50 as the limit, but it was all the stakeholders felt it was high. 25 is the feasible limit that can be said. That's why it's been limited to 25. So, like I mentioned, if you maintain a correct posture and attempt, you will hardly get 5 to 7 attempt, I mean, 7 proctoring alerts throughout the assessment for 2.5 hours or 3 hours. So basically, you have to maintain that posture so that you don't reach 25. 25 is a huge number when you see, if you take the assessment in a correct posture. So also some one of you have mentioned you are sitting in opposite of the light and two lights I had my face. It was clear, but I am getting warning called image poor quality. So the reason would have been that your camera might have not been that much clear. So try cleaning your camera also so that also you have a good lighting. Your camera will also, let's say I have a good lighting, but I have full of dust in my camera, so still the image quality will be poor, right? That whatever the image that AI captures will be seen blur. So that's why it is giving you a warnings. Okay. So you have asked, is wearing glass make a problem? So sometimes what might happen is that, let's say your reflection on the glass is too much. So you have to make sure you have a camera in the your desktop, right? Open that camera and have a preview of your face so that the reflection falling on the lenses is not blocking your eyes. So basically, the system wants to capture the entire face. I mean, wearing glasses is not an issue with the AI. So you would have also requested to give mock test. I think we have already enabled you mock test before the milestone assessment one for the same purpose to for you to make sure that you find a sweet spot where you don't. I mean you to identify a posture where you don't get any proctoring alerts. I don't know. I think we our team will also enable you the mock test for the upcoming assessments as well, right? So you have also mentioned while reading the question, you are getting warnings. So like I mentioned, your posture is important. Let's say you are reading the question, tilting your head too much. Then let's say you also keep your laptop very close to your body, so that even if you tilt a bit, it seems to the camera that you're tilting too much. So always we recommend you place the system a bit far from your body, so that you will be able to read the particular question without tilting your face, right? All right. That's it in terms of comments. Basically, we are getting the same comments. So now what I will do is that we will just take some analysis of your previous assessment and show you what are all the mistakes over there and how you can prevent that from happening. Just give me a minute. I'm just opening analysis to show you guys, what are the mistake that you make in the images and how we can rectify that. Hello, Priyanka. You've been added as a guest. I think you can talk now.
Hi. Am I audible to all?
Yes, Priyanka, you're audible.
Great. So I wanted to, reiterate this point. I'm sure you have already discussed this. So, guys, one small request is that you read the instructions line by line. I know during the assessment there might be issues, but one kindly request you, please do not get panic during your assessments. All right, and simply follow the instructions. I know there might be disconnect of internet, there might be mic issues, and everything is already provided in the instruction how to handle this situation during the assessment in the instruction booklet that is being provided to you. You just have to spend 2 minutes of your time and read it. Yeah. Um so I'll just want to bring two scenarios over here, wherein I want your support to have it addressed from the neocoder. So in case if there is any sudden shutdown of the internet in between the assessment, what a person should do.
Yes. So basically, how we should go, I mean, how we should handle this scenario is that we have also already given in the guidelines as well. So basically, you should not go for this scenario at all. Let's say we have already mentioned that while coming to the assessment itself, the student or the candidate should make sure that his system is connected to more than one network, right? So there are chances that the network may fail at some times. Okay, so that the first thing he has to do is he has to connect his system to more than one network, right? So that whenever one network gets failed, switching to the another network is pretty simple and it can be done within a second or so. Or sometimes the system automatically switches you to the next network, right? This is one thing that you
Okay.
can do.
Okay.
So that
My
is the
second
recommendable one as well. Yeah.
Great. My second question is, now I am not doing any tab switch. However, it is still considered as a warning.
Mhm.
So what do I do in such scenario?
Yeah. So the
So
first
what is the
thing,
possibility that what are the possibilities that I'm getting this warning for?
yeah. So basically, warnings like tab switches are not similar to the proctored warnings. So proctored warnings are triggered based on AI, but the tab switch is purely triggered based on the touch of your cursor, right? So there should be any physical action happening, only then the tab switch is getting encountered. So whenever you are encountered with a tab switch warning, that means that you are clicking on a property or an element which is not part of the test taking screen. So we are using the screen share option to record your screens, right? In that, what happens is the screen share option is basically the Chrome's inbuilt thing. So whenever you share the screen, it will show you that it is being shared, stop sharing, or hide. So during the start of the assessment, when you share the screen itself, there will be that option. So like how I did in my demo now, the student should also hide that particular element before going to the test, because I have seen some students keep on dragging that the thing so that they are encoding tab switches, but they are unaware that they are clicking on some other area. That's why they are being given with the tab switch. So whenever you encounter tab switch, that means that you are clicking on an element or a property which is not part of test taking screen. So you should try avoiding that.
All right. So during the assessment, the answers and questions are not visible to me. So what do I
Okay.
do in such scenario? If I increase the world, there's no option on the screen where I can increase and reduce the font size of the questions.
Okay. Basically, you can do it in two ways. So one, we would have given you an drag and drop option between the options and the question, or in terms of coding question between the IDE and the question. You can either maximize the answer area or you can maximize the question area. Or else, if you want to increase the font size, you can use the keyboard options Control plus key or Control minus key to minimize or maximize the font sizes.
Okay. So my next question is, my test is starting sharp at 5:30, and I
Correct.
logged in also at 5:30. Why am
Okay.
I getting error that the assessment is being expired?
Huh. So basically, the assessment expiry will not happen when you log in and take the test at 5. Okay. Let's say I'm starting the test at 5 9 p.m. Okay. At the last minute. So the test start is basically considered as whenever you land onto the test taking page, like whenever you land onto the first question. Okay. Let's say I'm starting the test at the last moment where it takes, I mean, you obviously will take couple of minutes to run your network test, capture your face, share your screen, and then land onto the test taking screen, right? So if you take much time over there, obviously you will be, crossing that 5 10 mark, I mean the 10 minutes mark, and you will be given with test validity expired. So you will be given with this warning only when the start time is over. Let's say if I'm given the start time between 3 to 3:10 p.m., you will get the test validity expired only when the time is, when the time is more than 3:10 p.m. In any other cases, you will not receive the test validity expired issue.
Okay. So I have one question with two scenarios here. Okay.
Okay.
So first, my question is that what do I do? First scenario, if there is a sudden internet disconnect during the assessment, I'm in the middle of the assessment, I'm giving my fifth answer, and the internet is disconnected. What do I do then? This is the first scenario. Second scenario, there is obviously a disconnect of internet because there is a power cut. Now what do I do? I don't know when the power cut will come. What do I do?
Huh. Yeah. So basically, the system does two things here. Let's say if there's a drop in your network, the system will somehow manage to run the test offline. It will say you a warning on the top that your internet is slow, right? And then it will show you a warning for few seconds, until manageable seconds, and then only it will throw you out of the test. If you encounter such things, like we have mentioned, the only option that you can uh, overcome this issue is that having a secondary network connection, because this test works in a works through internet. Without internet you won't be able to proceed with the test. So make sure you have a backup internet as well. The same thing goes for the battery backup as well. So if your system or a desktop is, let's say if your laptop is fully charged, of course it will last more than 2.5 hours, right? So also we are recommending that you should be plugged in while taking the assessment as well, so that even if the network, if the battery, if the power goes out, you still have battery to last for the assessment. In case of desktop, you should definitely go for an inverter, right? Because the desktop won't function without a active power supply.
Okay. So, just wanted to know, I have arranged an alternative device for myself, but I have to connect it to the alternate device, right? It takes some time. So,
Mhm.
in by the time I resume my assessment, it says I'm out of the assessment. What do I do in such scenario?
Correct. So we have identified a genuine scenario. Let's say, yeah, I'm a student. I'm gone out of the test. I don't have. My primary network is down. So we have. We have analyzed that scenario. We have also tried, coming out of the test, connecting to a secondary device and logging in. We have analyzed this scenario, come up with a minimum timeline required for the student. It is more than sufficient timeline required for the student to resume. So we have already given that option. The student can resume within a particular amount of time. If it takes too much time, let's say in genuine cases, I should be resuming the test within that time. But if he takes too much of time and then tries to resume, only then the resume interval exceeded, the error will be popped out.
Okay. Also, there is one situation that I can do, as per my understanding, is that I can have both of my alternative and my primary internet connected to my desktop or device from which I'm taking the assessment. So, in case if my primary, internet connectivity is disabled or there is some error or some issue, my alternate device automatically gets connected, right? I
Correct.
think that option also works. Yes.
Correct. Exactly, it works. That's why we recommend connecting, prior hand connecting to the other network. Also, you should enable that auto connect option. Whenever you connect to a Wi-Fi network, it will ask you to auto connect. So
Okay.
you have to
So
enable that.
Okay. So suppose if my assessment got submitted, I did not understand why exactly it got submitted. Okay. I have not exceeded my warnings also. My internet is also working absolutely fine, but there is some issue and it got auto submitted. Now what do I do? Who do I reach out to right now to just resolve this issue right then and there?
Um, you can so basically the why I mean so this is a general concern that has to be addressed. So some of the learners might have said that they have written to the support team but there is no reply. So basically how it works is that whenever you come to us with queries and scenarios, right? So we would recommend you to send your email id, which branch you are from, elaborate on the issue. Let's say all the students, whenever they reach out to the support channel, all they say is help, hello, and then we go there and ask them to elaborate. And what mean they've been giving the issues in one liners. So we would recommend you can use the chat support available in the platform. Basically our during the assessment time we would have 3 to 5 members team working on the chat support. You can give us an elaborate on the issue that you face, and then our team will reach out to you immediately. That's how it works. Also we are active during the during the testing. We are active in the workspace as well, but still we would recommend that you put your queries in the chat, so that it doesn't get spammed, and we'll be able to help you with one-on-one perspective as well.
Where will I exactly find this chat?
I think I'll be able to share my screen and show you as well. Just give me a minute and then I'll
Mm-hmm.
quickly share my screen to show you that. Is my screen visible? Just give me 1 minute. I'm just logging into the student end of the platform.
Sure.
Also,
Meanwhile,
yeah. Also, what you can do is, so the chat system that we are mentioning, right? You can use directly from the platform, or else if you mail to candidate at ivenue.ai, it is again those queries are also forwarded to that chat system only. So you can use that as well. You can mail to candidate at ivenue.ai, which is again forwarded to the chat system.
but then we receive this response saying, we do not receive the response faster. What do we do? I'll answer that question. Maybe I'll answer my question only. So you'll have to wait in some time, because support team is here to help you anyway. Okay. Now there are n number of people giving assessment. There are n number of queries pulling, receiving in, pouring in the chat box, right? So I would suggest in such scenario, please have some patience and wait for their email. If there is any issue that you have genuinely faced, the support team will definitely come up with a solution to have it resolved. Okay, your patience will be appreciated at that point of time. And one more question that is pouring in the chat comment box is that, is it a first attempt or a second attempt? This is definitely a second attempt. This is not a first attempt. First attempt was considered on 19th and 18th. And a few more questions. Okay, so now that you're already working on that login part, you also show us why does it take buffering time? It takes a longer buffering time to start the assessment. What is the issue over there actually?
Yes. So, in order to answer that, so there are multiple scenarios. Let's say when you're logging into the platform, or when you're clicking the share screen option if the screen is loading for a longer time, or else after the 25 seconds timer, if the screen keeps on loading without allowing you to enter the test, it's all because of the drop in internet connectivity. So most of the learners, the mistake they do is that, let's say he or she would claim that my internet was good. Only then I passed the internet test and came to the screen share place, or else the 25 seconds timer. Yes, your internet may be good when you're going through the internet, the network check process. But like I mentioned during the start of the session, your internet should be stable. So that is very much important. Your internet should be stable. Let's say 2 Mbps of upload and download right from starting the test till ending the test. So if you met with buffering, similar to what I said, when when your network goes down, all you have to do is you have to come back, make sure you have good internet, and you can again resume the test within few seconds or within a couple of minutes, so that you will be able to take the test.
Okay. Last and golden question. What if I am still facing all of these issues during my last attempt or milestone, and there is no support received at that point of time? What do I do in such scenario? So, I'll answer to that question is that you need to highlight the question or the concern to the neocoder team and to me as well, so that we can look into the issue right then and there and we can have it resolved on the same day instead of pushing it to the any other day, because this will be your last and final attempt for your milestone. I hope I have made it very clear. Secondly, I assume, as I see also certain comments in the comment box, that face the reality, jobless, this and that. I would suggest you to stop these kind of information. I don't know who is your source, but social media can also provide you a lot of wrong information. So I suggest you ignore all of that and only focus on your learning journey over here. You are being provided with this program because we have your future plans, right? So just think positively and go ahead. I know there are people who will spread out negativity. You can simply ignore that. Yes, Neocoder, you were just going to share one of the scenario or the report.
Yes, sorry, I was on mute.
Not a
I'm
problem.
just sharing
Also,
this.
there is one question that I would like to highlight. I have 200 Mbps internet connection, but still it shows as internet connectivity issue. You check your internet. What do I do at that point of time?
I'm sorry, can you come again?
There is a person who says, I have a 200 Mbps internet connectivity, but I receive a messages saying your internet connectivity issue is happening during the assessment. What do I do then?
It's again a similar scenario, Priyanka.
Hmm.
Basically, like I mentioned, the stable internet is all about that you might have 200 Mbps of internet or 1 GB of internet speed. But then, if your speed drops during the assessment, let's say I'm 30 minutes past my assessment, but then my internet has dropped to 1.5 Mbps, then at that point of time you will be thrown with error. But then let's say if the internet quickly refreshes itself, or it quickly goes again back to normal, then you won't be thrown out of the test. Like I mentioned, you will receive a
Hmm.
warning that your internet is slow, the assessment
Hmm.
is running offline for a few couple of seconds. If your internet, or a service provider is able to get back to the normal speed, then you will be able to continue the test. You won't be thrown out of the test even.
Okay. And there is also some comments coming in saying I was exactly sitting like a rock, but still it was showing me error and throwing me warning that I am doing some suspicious activity. I'm not looking at the screen. All this it was popping up. So, to respond to that, even if you sit like a rock, that doesn't matter. Your eyes are moving around here and there at the left corner, right corner, downwards, upwards. It will definitely capture as a malpractice. Am I wrong? Would you like to add anything on this, neocoder?
You're correct. In addition to that, let's say you're not sitting in a plain background. So you have properties or things which actually resembles a person standing behind you, or let's say you have a photograph or something behind you which has a face in it. So the AI will again detect that face as well, so that it says someone else is found, and it's again a proctoring warning. So we would also recommend you to sit with a plain background. So that is also important to prevent these proctoring alerts.
Mhm. Okay. I'm just reading into a few more comments. Give me a minute.
Sure.
I'm sorry you will not be provided with any further mock test. We have already given 3 mock tests plus 2 weekly assessments. At this point of time, you should be very handy with the assessment platform. But still, we saw some concerns highlighting. Hence, we thought we will take a quick session for you guys to resolve all your issues, so that tomorrow you're not coming up with unnecessary, unreasonable reasons for tomorrow's assessment, and you're 100% prepared for tomorrow's last attempt. I would like to also add one comment from my end is, when a person goes into an exam, please do not go with a mindset that I will answer precisely these many questions, precisely these many MCQ, these many programming, because you are totally unaware how we are doing the calculations. We are doing it on 100 out of. Understood? So, I would suggest you not to assume by yourself how much scores you will be receiving. However, I request you guys to prepare well and answer as many questions as you can, and feel confident about the questions during the assessment, instead of assuming that, I don't know, I will not give this question, I'm not 100% sure. Keep that in the secondary part. Being 100% or not 100% sure, keep that secondary, but please be prepared for the assessment, as this is your last and final assessment for milestone, at least milestone 1. You will be informed in case if you're not able to clear, for the further details that you will have to, or activities that you will be doing, in case if there is no positive scores. But why even are you thinking about that? And that's exactly my request: to not go with a negative mind in the assessment. As I have also mentioned that The warnings only are received when you do any sort of suspicious movements or activities during the assessment. If you are genuinely not doing any sort of such activities and still receiving the warnings, of course, we will look into it. But I'm pretty and 100% sure that the AI works as we have designed it to work like, right? So I think there will be no warnings if you are not performing any sort of suspicious activity. So be very mindful about that. Neocoder has already provided the I think kind of sample how you can correct your warnings related to the camera, right, Neocoder? um,
Yes, Priyanka, we did, I took the assessment as a student and elaborated on the scenarios that they face and how to prevent all those things.
Correct. So, if there is any sort of questions related to the camera, you can definitely go back to your platform and refer the recording which will be attached over there. The same recording will be attached over there. So, please go and refer in case if you have missed that part. Okay, I am done. It's more or less the same kind of comments related to internet and power cut and mic issues. I think all of these pointers are already covered by Neocoder in the Q&A and also a visual demo. So I am done from my end. Neocoder, if there is anything pending from your end, you can go ahead and take this forward.
All right, Priyanka. So basically, that's it from our end too. So I'll just quickly summarize the key points that you have to maintain from the start of the assessment to the end, so that we can wind up the session. So basically, before you start the assessment, let's say right from the beginning, tomorrow we have a scheduled assessment at 5:30. We would recommend you to log into the platform before 5:30, and then you start the assessment by 5:30 or 5:31, a couple of minutes from the start time. Okay, so that even if you encounter any technical difficulties, we will be able to help you out with the solution within the test start time, right? So also make sure you ensure all prerequisites. Let's say you have good internet speed, let's say 2 mbps of upload and download. You also have a secondary network connected, so that in case your network goes out, your secondary networks auto connects. And then you also have a good battery backup or an inverter in place, right? And then you go take up the assessment, right? So also during the assessment, if you face a proctoring alert, let's say I'm facing the first alert, that means that your posture is not capturing the entire face. Try changing your posture without getting panicked, so that at some point of time you will be able to identify, let's say in 2 or 3 proctoring alerts, you will be able to identify the correct posture that you have to maintain to not get any proctoring alerts. So maintain the posture throughout the assessment. Okay. Similarly, if you have any rough notes that has to be done, place it. Don't place it at your side. Place it at your center. I mean, basic between your system and you, so that you need not lean or you not turn too much to work on your rough notes. Right. So once you're done with your assessment, just end the assessment by clicking on the submit test and end it. So during the assessment, if you face any difficulties and thrown out of the test, try making the prerequisites set again in couple of minutes, and then try receiving the test at one go. Don't rush, don't get panicked and rush too many times, so that you will exceed the resume times allowed. So if you ensure all these things, also we have shared the separate guidelines for for the entire assessment as well as the proctoring hurdles. Go through that. It will hardly take 10 to 15 minutes for you to go through each word by word. So if you go through that guideline document before coming to the assessment, then you all you have to worry about is the questions. So you will have a smooth test taking experience. Yeah. So that's it from my end. Priyanka, if you're done, we can wind up this call.
Yes, absolutely. We can wind it up. And please remember, all of you, unless you guys help yourself, even we cannot help you. So the journey begins with you. You have to help yourself first, and then probably seek for support from our end. We'll be guiding you accordingly. Yeah. So we close with that. Thank you, Neocoder, for this absolutely lovely and very informative session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thanks for your inputs too.
Thank you.
All right.